This Surron Light BX is capable of running up to 26 kilowatts, which according to this kilowatt converter is just under 35 brake horsepower. That's half the power of a stock Varg, which is the fastest electric dirt bike available on the market. On this setup, we're running a 72 volt 55 amp hour battery, which is capable of bursts of up to 28 kilowatts. Paired up with the TC1000, this controller is capable of running 50 kilowatts and a motor current of over 800 phase amps. Then we've been running this, the Torp TM25 motor. This motor is capable of pulling up to 26 kilowatts power of peak, and it can run over 800 phase amps. This thing is insane power. Or should I say, was insane power, because we're about to take it to another level. We are about to put stock Varg power into a Surron Light BX because we have got our hands on Torp's biggest motor yet for the Surron Light BX, the Torp TM40 Pro. Packaged to perfection inside the box of the TM40 Pro, you'll find a set of instructions for us to follow. A selection of Torp stickers, we get a range of different hardware and brackets included, a bag of the sticky white stuff, not that white stuff, it's dielectric grease. Then finally, we have this monster of a motor. After quickly learning how to read, it was time for step 1. Remove the current motor from my Surron. To remove the motor, we need to remove the bash guard held in by these 4 bolts. To gain access to the Torp controller, I remove the plastic cover shield and then the belt cover attached to the motor. At this point, I remembered that we were playing with electrics, and it is vital to make sure that the battery is unplugged and removed from the bike. Then I like to power the bike on and drain any excess voltage from the controller. Now we were working safely, I could remove the yellow, green and blue motor phase cables and unplug the encoder. The motors are only held in with 4 bolts on a Surron. I find it easiest to remove the 2 bolts on the encoder or the hall sensor side of the motor, then remove the belt from the pulley, then carefully undo the final bolts until the motor is free. But make sure you don't lose the hardware. Step 1, complete. We've got 3 motors lined up here to compare. We've got the stock Surron Light BX motor. We've got the Torp TM25 motor, which I've been running in this bike for well over a year. And then of course we've got the Torp TM40 Pro, which is the beast we're about to put in this bike. Starting with the original Surron Light BX motor, this motor was capable of pulling a peak of 6 kilowatts when I had it in this bike. That was on a stock battery. And when adding a Torp controller with a stock battery to this motor, we could pull a peak of 8 kilowatts. That's around 10 horsepower. This motor also had a total weight of around 7 kilograms. Next, we got the Torp TM25 motor, and like mentioned, this thing was running 26 kilowatts peak. We could also run around 800 phase amps with this motor. It had a maximum RPM of around 10,000 RPM to hit those high top speeds. We could pull around 67 Newton meters of torque from this motor, and it had a total weight of around 10 kilograms. At 26 kilowatts of power, this motor is running around 35 horsepowers. Then moving on to the Torp TM40 Pro motor, and this motor is insane with the specs. This thing can run up to 50 kilowatts. That's nearly double what we were running on the Torp TM25 motor. Then we can run 1100 phase amps on the TM40 Pro. That's 300 more than we were running on the TM25 and nearly 1,000 more than we were running on the stock Surron Light BX motor. The TM40 Pro can run 11,000 RPM to hit even higher top speeds than before. We can pull upwards of 86 Newton meters of torque on the TM40 Pro. That's nearly 20 more Newton meters than the TM25. At 50 kilowatts, the TM40 Pro is running 67 horsepower. That is only just below the 80 horsepower that the stock Varg is running, and it's going to be in a much smaller bike. The power to weight ratio is going to be insane. It's also worth mentioning that the TM40 Pro has 65mm magnets inside, hence why this motor looks like such a beast. For the next set of instructions, we had to remove the pulley from our previous motor, remove the nut from the TM40 Pro, then reinstall the pulley onto the new motor. That means it was time for some impact. The pulley shaft on the TM25 is reverse thread, so it is vital to undo this nut spinning it right, not left. After removing the nut, there'll be a spacer behind it. Then, the pulley should just lift off. Now it's out with the old, and it's in with the new. We've just got to repeat the process of what we've just done, but in the opposite order. Make sure that this is sat in place. This is called a woodruff key and keeps the pulley from spinning on the motor shaft. I always like to put a little bit of grease inside the pulley before installing it onto the motor. This makes it easier to remove in the future and slide on easier when fitting. Now the new motor is ready to be installed into the Surron. Going back to the Torp instructions, we need to find the correct hardware. We're going to need the 1mm spacer and the short bolt from the pack. This is for the top bolt mount. With the bolt sat in place, we can lift the motor into position and get the first bolt tightened to hold the motor. Next, we need the thicker black spacer and the longer bolt from the packet, as well as the new square spacer also included. This is going to be for the bottom mount of the motor. Switching to the other side of the bike, and with the motor still loose, we can reinstall the belt onto the motor pulley. And using the original motor spacer that we earlier removed, we can install the other 2 bolts provided by Torp. But for this mount, we're going to need to add the belt tensioner as well as the motor spacer, and the original square spacer that comes with your Surron. Before properly tightening the motor bolts, we need to do the belt tension. The belt always wants a bit of movement, and always double check the tension after tightening the motor. With the belt at the ideal tension, the belt cover can be reinstalled. At this point, the motor was mounted, and all we had to do was reinstall the blue, green and yellow phase cables, making sure there was plenty of clearance between the connections. This is to avoid potential fires and major devastation. We are now in the final stages of installing this Torp TM40 Pro onto my bike, and according to the final stages of the Torp instructions that come with this motor, one of the final things we've got to do is install the bash guard. And if you know about installing these bash guards on the Light BX, they can be one of the most annoying things. But you also know you've got a beast of a motor in the bike when it supplies bash guard extenders for you to install the bash guard with. So let's take a look at getting these bash guard extenders and the bash guard reinstalled. By bash guard extenders, I mean these brackets, which we unboxed earlier. And this was my favourite instruction yet. Adding these brackets meant that we could get rid of the U-clips from the bash guard. These clips suck. The new brackets are going to sit at the lowest mount holes for the bash guard, making sure the raised lip is against the frame of the Surron. These new brackets are meant to lower the bash guard because of how big the TM40 Pro is, but they just made fitting the bash guard 1,000 times easier. Last of all, the controller cover was back on and the new motor is fully installed. When installing any new motor or controller to the bike, it needs calibrating. This can all be done by following the simple steps on the Torp app. When calibrating the motor, we need to select which motor we have installed to ensure the calibration is correct. There's multiple different options, but we need to select TM40 Pro. Once selected, the motor will start spinning, so make sure the rear wheel is off the ground. What this is doing is sensing the magnet positions inside the motor to ensure the most accurate throttle tune and smoothest ride possible. It also requires us to calibrate the throttle by slowly twisting the throttle all the way and then releasing it so it can read the voltage. Before ending the calibration, it will ask you to make sure the wheel is spinning in the correct direction. With everything up and running at 3:50 AM, I decided to call it a night. Let's go! The bike is alive. It is Judgment Day. We have got the TM40 Pro set up ready to go. All 3 modes are tuned. We got 2 boys out on the road already. Let's go rip. We are outside with the boys. We are about to test this motor out. I'm excited for this. I've waited a long time for this. We are about to put stock Varg power. This is the first step of putting stock Varg power in my Surron Light BX. Now there is a lot of numbers going around in this video with kilowatts, motor current, field weakening, etc. And don't let it all confuse you. I don't know a lot about these numbers. All I know is that the more of these numbers there are, the faster this bike is going to be. And we got the Komodo out today with us, so we've got another bike running 32 kilowatts, so it should be a good test. So the way I see it is, kilowatts is how much power can we draw from the battery, what's the most amount of current we want to really pull out of this battery. And on this one we can actually set it at 28 kilowatts. On the Torp TM25 it tops out at 26, so we've got 2 more kilowatts. Then the next thing we've got is motor current, and motor current is essentially how much torque are we going to get out of that power. So we could set it at 28 kilowatts but 300 motor current, and it wouldn't be mega snappy, it would be quite gradual. Or we could set it right up at 1000 phase amps on this motor, which will make it mega snappy. Just like this. Then one of the other settings we've got is field weakening, and field weakening is a current which lets the motor spin at a faster RPM. But when we use this setting, it does come at the sacrifice of running at hotter temperatures, which means we get less range out of a battery. But this is going to be for your crazy top speed runs, super fast drag races and track riding. So usually I'd say that eco on my bike is quite a tame power. But even the way I've got eco set up on this motor and set up right now, it's not tame, it is far from tame. So right now in eco, I'm running 14 kilowatts of power. We're running 650 phase amps of motor current. That is mad torque already, and that's just my lowest power mode. Jay at the front, he's running a TC500. The most motor current you can run on the TC500 is 500 phase amps. This thing can run double the phase amps of that. They say that 14 kilowatts is the perfect wheelie power. Maybe at 600 phase amps it's a little bit too much torque, but for now it's feeling nice, it's feeling good. So in all of the modes today, I'm going to be running at 50 amps of field weakening. This is going to give us a slight kick of more top speed than anything, but then we are going to be testing this thing out in sport mode, full whack everything, so you're going to have to stick around. So much harder doing that in boots. We're already doing 60. Oh, it's gonna do 70 easy. Oh my god. The power on this thing is mad already. And we're not messing around today, we're gonna go into daily mode. I've set daily up at what I was running on the Torp TM25, so I've got 25 kilowatts of power from the battery. I've then got it set up at 750 phase amps. That's just under the maximum phase amps I could run on the TM25. And again, we got field weakening at 50, so let's give this a little blast, see how we do. Oh my god, the torque on this is mad. It's picking the wheel up at 40 easily, too easy. Oh my god. We're already doing 72 mile an hour. No, this thing is silly power. Woo. So you can see why I wanted to test this today on private roads. These things are not legal for public roads unless you have them registered. So you can see why I wanted to test it on private roads today. Oh, I've got to be careful today. That's not even using the front brake. That is just raw power. So at this much power, this is too much for wheelies really. I definitely need to take it easy. So at 25 kilowatts, we're not much under the Komodo. This is mad power. This is nearly the most power my battery can actually run. But we've still got room for improvement on the phase amp. Even just a little pull of throttle feels like a lot on this. Okay, we got a straight, let's hit it. Oh my god. That is so fast. Sheesh. Let's get some wet ground. Oh my god, it is just spinning. Oh, this thing is nuts. So at 25 kilowatts, we're half the power of what this motor can run at full speed, which is just under the power of a Start Varg. And Jay, who's with us right here, has just bought a Start Varg himself. Obviously he's not on the Start Varg. So at some point we are going to be testing the Light VX mini Start Varg build up against an actual Start Varg and seeing how they can handle. I think the Light V has got a bit of a chance of keeping up. After feeling this today on 25 kilowatts, I really think this bike has got a chance of keeping up with the Stark up to about 80 mile an hour. It's definitely, maybe even 100, it's got a chance, it's got a chance. Oh my god, that's enough to loop you at 50 mile an hour. These are all just power wheelies because I'm too scared to really give it some. Oh my god, it's fucking silly. I feel like I'm just going to spin out if I go too fast doing wheelies like that. It's just mad. Now the problem is, when your bike's running this much power that easily with a throttle, the boys can't keep up. The Komodo is meant to be a fast bike and they just can't even keep up. Not that they're probably trying, but... So we got Talaria's biggest, latest bike against the little Light V right now. I think there's going to be a good test against it. I think there's going to be a challenge. Absolutely smoked them. They just can't keep up. There's too much power on this thing, and this is only daily. Bit of damp ground. Smoked him in daily. I hope you've seen that speed bump as well. Should have warned him about that. Let's go. We've just eaten the Komodo. Easy. 25 kilowatts. 750 phase amps. That was crazy. That was great. What battery are you on?
45.
45. Okay, I'm on 65, so...
Mine's spinning.
Yeah, you couldn't get no traction. Too much torque.
Did you get no traction either?
Oh, I was definitely trying to hold off spinning. It was definitely trying to go. So normally out of this battery, I can get between 50 and 60 miles on a single charge. And today, I've done 20 miles and I'm already on 67%. So I've definitely used a lot more battery than I normally would, but that is the result of faster speeds, higher top speeds, more motor current, more RPM. There is a number of things that will factor into that less range. But this is all because we want to run more power on this bike. But we've had some playtime now. We've seen what the lower power modes are like. We've now put it into sport. My sport is set at 30 kilowatts. Now this battery is actually capable of running 28, but it says that it can do bursts of 400 amps from the BMS. So I'm just going to set it at below 400 amps on the BMS and hope that this thing doesn't blow up. Motor current is set at 1000 amps. I'm not even sure that, again, this battery can pull that. I've got a feeling this battery might blow up today. I really hope it doesn't, but there's a possibility. So with it in sport mode, 50 amps of field weakening for that top speed run, just to get a little bit more power. I think we hit it. I think we give it a go. This thing's going to be nuts. We're doing 50 already. Oh my god, we're flat out. We're hitting about 71 mile an hour. Woo-hoo-hoo! It's too fast for my helmet. It's trying to pull my head back. That is nuts. That is insane power. Oh my god, it's spinning at 50 mile an hour. Oh Jesus, nah. Nobody needs this power in a Light V. Nobody needs this. What the heck? The boys are gone. I might as well say goodbye to them. They're not going to catch me now. Oh my days. This is fast. This is fast. Whoa. This is throw you off the back sort of power, this is. So this thing is the big daddy of all of the Torp products for the Light VX. This is the biggest motor that Torp have released yet for the Light VX. This is the one that's going to compete with all the other motors on the market for the crazy builds, the top speeds, the torque, everything. And this is nowhere near full power. This is 30 kilowatts. We can still get 20 kilowatts on this, but we are running the most motor current, 1000 phase amps, double what Jay is running right there. Goodbye. Oh my god. There's a bridge, so I really need to slow down. These brakes are not enough. The Lightbee brakes, mountain bike brakes, are dangerous on this. I can confirm this is dangerous. Oh my, I'm lost for words. This thing is insane. You feel like it's done and it just keeps pulling. The boy's a gun. Oh no Lightbee should be this fast. Talk about stock Varg power in a bike that weighs probably a quarter of it. No, this is insanity. Oh my days. So we're going to do a run from nothing in sport mode up to as fast as I can get before that corner and hopefully not crash and die. Let's do it. 30 kilowatts, 1000 phase amps. Oh my god. We're at 70. Oh my god. Nah. The 0 to 70 on that is nuts, let alone the 0 to 60. Jesus Christ. That is fast. Taking a look at the Torp app, that's going to tell us all of the data that we've been doing on this ride. I haven't turned this bike off, so it has recorded everything from start to finish. So we've done 26 miles overall. We've used a total of just over 50% battery. We've used 53% battery. Going over to the specs, this is where we're going to see all the top and minimum ratings. So we've pulled 25.9 kilowatts, so we've not even pulled the 30 kilowatts that I was expecting to yet. We've pulled 1118 on the motor current, so that's over the 1100 that was advertised. That is insane torque. That is actually nuts. We've also got 75 mile an hour top speed. We could run more field weakening and achieve more of a top speed than that, but we've not done a proper top speed run test. I'll be honest, I'm too scared. That thing is crazy. Now this is the interesting thing, motor temperature. We've got a maximum of 56 on the motor temperature. For a motor that is running this much power, that much speed, that is a mega low temperature. There's some bikes that sit at that temperature as a standard temperature, and we've been running 75 mile an hour with 1100 phase amps. That is insane power. So when it comes to price on these motors, the TM40 Pro is running at 1100 euros. The TM40, which is the middle motor now, there is one below this motor, that's running around 1000 euros. And then the TM25, the baby motor from Torp now, the starter motor, which I can't believe I'm saying, that's running around 700 euros. So when converting these to pounds, then adding your shipping and your import duties, because you've got to pay tax on them, I think it equals out to about the same, if not a little bit more for these products. But when you take into factor you are making your Lightbee literally a beast, even with the baby motor, you're making your bike an absolute rocket. When you have upgraded a battery and you've upgraded a controller, you need to do a controller upgrade to upgrade these things anyway. So once you consider these sorts of things and how fast your bike will be running, it is worth every single penny in my eyes. Plus there'll be any discount codes and the link to the Torp website down below in the description of this video if you want to go take a look for yourself. So by adding this motor, I have taken the first steps into putting stock Varg power into my Surron Lightbee. We still need a battery for this bike that can handle these sorts of powers. We still need a massive 50 kilowatt battery. That's going to set me back a couple of grand, if not more. If you want to see this Lightbee get stock Varg power as well, if you want to see me do it, then go down below, hit the subscribe button, smash that like button, drop a comment down below on what you think of the TM40 Pro. With all that being said and done, I'll see you in the next video. I'm MattFrancis signing out. Peace.